He is the pride of Wayzata High School. Threes, how you living, Threes? Where are you at, brother?
Oh, I'm in Big Sky, man. I'm in Big Sky out here living the dream. You can't see, you can't see Lone Peak Mountain. The clouds are down over it right now. Nice and early in the morning, 8:31, but a little sleeping today. You have the early flight to get out here a couple of days ago. Nothing like a 4 a.m. wake-up call to get your oldest two daughters to the airport. Through Midway, which was elite, nice place to have a layover, a lot of lounging space in Midway. And then you get out here, you got another hour drive down to Big Sky. But yesterday was another early morning, get up at 5 and got to get to West Yellowstone for the tour, and away we went. So a little sleeping this morning.
What did you see animal-wise at the West Yellowstone in the tour?
Man, the only thing we saw was a ton of bison. When we came back in 2019, unless you come frequently, I feel like the bear sightings are rare.
Very.
But, when we saw one even a couple of years ago, well, I guess 2019 wasn't really a couple of years ago, but it was a traffic jam. So you fell into it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like one of the lookout spots. People were and the bear was kind of down with its cubs. The black bear was quite a bit of ways, but we had probably at one of the turnouts, as they're called, there was probably a bison laying down 25 yards from the pavement, just basking in the sun, just basking in the sun. But we probably saw about 40 to 50 of those overall, which are always, exciting. And anytime, I feel like any one of those turnouts, if you've ever been to Yellowstone or even, through Big Sky, you could pull over every quarter mile at those turnouts and just take another picture for for your wallpaper. Yeah. It's incredible. The scenery is insane. And we also saw some elk, but besides that, that was really it. But it still was an elite day.
I try to explain to people who go down there that that Big Sky isn't Bozeman, and that this is the other thing. It's really remarkable the growth that they've had in that Big Sky area, as Threes, because on that road you're on, it can't get wider. It's in a canyon. No. It's against a river. There's nowhere else for it to go. There's one way in and one way out of that place. No,
and the river winds, as you're driving down, it goes from the left side of you to the right side of you to the left side of you, and it's like you're just taking turns on which way. And as a driver, I mean, I could totally see if you're a local, you're like, okay, you see this every day, you know what I mean? And you'll peek around, but if you're a tourist, it's the worst job is driving because you have to pay attention to the winding of the road. Yes. If you want to look around, at the river, you want to see the rapids, you want to see, is there anything walking alongside the river? And the next thing you know, those rumble strips hit and you're like, all right, there's a reason why there's a lot of, why there's a lot of little white crosses next to the road. And I can't imagine. Oh. I mean, you get an ice storm or snow. I can't imagine trying to drive those.
That's what I was saying when you and I were texting last night, and you were talking about the fondness for that place from the great Cersei, and I'm like, well, have her fly into Bozeman and drive from Bozeman to Big Sky in February, and then see how crazy you are about it, because that road is insane.
Yeah, I can't imagine. Imagine that. And I mean, and as you know, you really just feel like at any given moment you can see anything. You know what I mean? And it really is which was why obviously we love to vacation here, is the fact that you look out your window and you're seeing just for the most part, and Big Sky has grown a lot since we came, in 2019, but it's still the drive down. And then as you go out toward the ranches, it's pretty incredible. And so what we did, Beau, is that we decided that when one of our kids turns 10, we'll let them choose a spot in the United States.
Love that.
To kind of go trip. And since we have a 10-year age gap between little Mav and London, it's you get to bring one sibling. You know what I mean? So
nice.
London and Hayden will get to go together when Hayden turns 10. I mean, who knows what she'll pick? It's changed back and forth from Hawaii to New York, and then she said Disney. We said absolutely not. We've already been there twice, and we're never going back. No, it's you're as you go around. It's pretty cool. So London loves to ride horses, and so today we will go over to the 320 Ranch, and they have a trail side. You'll go, up the mountain, down the Gallatin, and then they do a open fire kind of steak and potatoes, all the fixins and s'mores by the fire, and then you come on back. So it'll be a pretty great afternoon and evening.
That's so awesome, buddy. How important is it for you guys? I talk about this all the time. And look, no one's going to feel. You guys you're chasing your dreams. You get to coach football for a living at Ohio State. Like that's about as cool a job as can be. But that job has never been more on demand. And I know Ryan's a big is a big proponent of this, and all you guys on the staff of like when you have moments, and there aren't many of them, but when you get them, you really need to just unplug because this thing's coming quick. I mean, we're a couple weeks and we're going to be ready to go here, pal.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're back in the office officially on Monday. So it's like you really what happens, Beau, is you have to find those days, and sometimes they're hours. You have to really try to – and I've learned lessons, over the last few years on kind of how to manage it all. And there have been times that you've taken phone calls around your family to where – you're like, well, looking back, maybe I should have taken those phone calls. You know what I mean? Because it didn't pan out in the recruiting side of it. And so you just have to be very specific. So I'm finding out that you have to really narrow down your energy to kind of focus it on the right people, on the right guys, and then the right moments. And so it's really hard. Like anyone that says to you, hey, you're going to be able to balance everything and it's going to be a nice equal wheel, it's impossible in college football because the expectation is you're always on and you're always available for every single recruit when they call, which is just part of the job. And I'm not saying anything new, but it's impossible to have a perfectly balanced wheel when you're in this profession. So you try to take these moments when you got them, to take vacations and have special trips and stuff like that. But I think also it's in the day-to-day. How do you manage even maybe those lazy mornings? And by lazy mornings, I mean, hey, you're in the building at 10 a.m. on a Sunday. Like, how do you manage those few minutes in the morning on a Sunday? Or, how do you manage like a Thursday evening or something like that during the season?
How did you guys get the leaders on this team that were our substantial players to – it feels like they maybe kind of, with your kind of came to this thing of like, hey, what happened like to be able to like, hey, that was fun, but let's flush it. This team didn't accomplish anything. To me, that's an incredible thing to get guys to flip like that.
Well, I think what we thankfully have is we have a lot of guys that got to experience all that, Beau, but they weren't the driving guys that everyone was looking to. Like when you look at our team meeting room that first time after the national championship, and you saw all the people in the first two rows that were gone, and we kind of had this moment of when we had everyone back, for that last meeting, it was kind of like, hey, everyone that's going to be gone, get up and get in front of the room. And then coach had everyone else move forward, to the front row. So like you might have been in the third row with all of the leaders we had and seniors and guys who left, right? And then all of a sudden you're in the third row, meaning you're a younger player, and now you're in that front row. And so what's that mean? When you're in the third row, I mean, I'm trying to learn how to become a college football player, a leader, all these things, right? And I'm looking up to guys like Cody Simon, who's like the ultimate leader in my eyes, Jack Sawyer, another one, right? And you're looking up to all those guys in the front row. And then all of a sudden now it's like those guys are looking towards you. And that's different. That's a whole different thing, right? And so we had to learn through spring ball, I think, how to get through some youth in some of those areas. And there'll continue to be some things in fall, I'm sure. But they have a real life example that they got to live through with the guys that they played with, right? So they have the benefit of the doubt of having that because it's easier to catch leadership, right? Like you can feel what leadership is when you're around it. So a lot of times when you feel it that way versus being told what it is, over and over, I think that's very beneficial for our roster.
You and I used to always tease about all I want to do is be the linebacker coach at Montana State. Did you have a chance to take in the facilities in Bozeman of the mighty Montana State Bobcats? They can't get over the hump. They can get right to the national championship game, but they keep losing to those North Dakota schools threes. It's not great.
When we landed and we drove through. Obviously, went from the Bozeman airport. We went and got lunch. I don't even remember where we ate. It was like somewhere that we kind of tried to look up. And I sent you the picture after we'd already eaten lunch.
Oh, yeah, because I wanted you to go to the Rock and R bar.
Your local, yeah. I'm sorry, I didn't get to go to your local watering hole. But we went, and I'm like, where's the stadium as we drive down to Big Sky? And so I just had to take a picture next to the Bobcat and send it to you. But, I mean, it's crazy as we, it's such a pristine setting out here, and it's funny though. Like when you drive around, you're like, where do they even go out and recruit? It's got to be just a ton of Montana boys, isn't it? Like, I mean, it's like that's got to be just the pride of the state. And then obviously I played with a kid from the University of Montana, and Chase Reynolds, who was a running back, and he was a special teams guy for us for a while. And the Grizz, I mean, that's super far away. I mean, how far is Missoula from Bozeman?
3+.
Yeah.
3+. Yeah. Depending on the traffic.
Yeah.
I mean, not much traffic. You're going to go 80 miles an hour, so hell, you might be able to get there in 2.5.
It's the best thing, honestly. Like when you go into like the Western states, when you're in like Montana and this is for the speed limit 80 miles per hour, you're like, that's elite. It's the same thing in Nebraska. You land in Omaha and you drive to Lincoln, sure, yeah, 80, so and you can see a cop from 4 miles away in Nebraska because there ain't nothing.
There ain't nothing. No, that means the locals are going 89. That's cruising. Yeah. Cruising speed.
Yeah, well, they do that in Columbus now, too. Like, there's a legit speeding problem in the world. Like here in Columbus, you're like, I'm pretty sure 270 is still, like, 65. No, you drive to work in the morning, you put the cruise control on 75 sometimes, and it's like there are people just flying by you, and you're like, okay, well, I guess this is where we're at in society. Let's just go.
Grand Theft Auto. I'm going to get you out of here on this one. What is the one meal, drink, or experience you've either done or are going to do that you're most excited for or will be most excited for?
So over at well, tonight's gonna be incredible. I've never had like a full like steak over a fire outside and stuff. Not me and what we're doing. But Lone Mountain Ranch has a place called Horn and Cantle that we went to last night, and we went there back in 2019 as well. I know no idea that's what the restaurant was called, but we as you pull up to the ranch, like it's a functioning ranch. Like they do like rodeos on the ranch on like Tuesday nights and all that, and they just have all the horses out front, and you can you see like the carriages, and you're like, man, this place must be magical, in the winter. They have all the cabins, and they have two, open bonfires going with free s'mores, for the kids and all that. But
beautiful.
To be able to, when you go into that dinner and, you have obviously the massive bison head, and you have the bobcat that's stuffed on the wall, and then you have a moose head stuffed on, and you're like, okay, and it's all out of like, the whole thing is built out of local wood, right? All these pines, they build everything out of these pines. And then you sit down for a meal, and you're like, okay, are we getting the bison, strip? Are we getting the bison short rib? Are we getting the? I think Hayden got the elk meatball, which I was shocked that she was willing to go outside the comfort zone and get elk meatball. But it was it's incredible. If you haven't had elk, out here,
so good.
it's the only place I've ever had elk, but it's so good. It's so good.
We don't have them. We don't have them in Dublin. There aren't any elk running. I don't know what the hell's going on. We got to get some.
No, there's not. No, there's not. We got a couple of young deer in the backyard. That's about it. A couple of young deer that pop out in and now again. But it's all right.
All right, brother. Enjoy the motherland, and I'll see you in a couple of weeks when we're live from camp.
I was looking for your billboard. I was looking for a billboard. Proud home of Beau Bishop.
Sad.
It's kind of like Free used to say to me all the time. Free used to say, hey, when I was in college, he used to be like, hey, when you drive through Huber Heights down 70 to see your brother, like, look for my billboard, the home of Marcus Freeman. I'm like, they still don't have one. Still. I'm like, you're head coach Notre Dame. They still don't have one.
Still? They still can't get him one. Come on, man.
They still don't have a billboard that says home of M3. What are we talking about?
All right, brother. Be well. Good talking to you.
All right, buddy. Yeah.
There he goes. Threes on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline from Big Sky.